Amos 3, verse 3. And it reads thus: Can two walk together unless they are agreed? Can two walk together unless they are agreed? Amos, the minor prophet, while he was among the sheep breeder, those who breed sheep and allow them to multiply in that time, he got revelation from above, from God, concerning Judah. Now, and though Amos would consider to be one of the minor prophets, all messages coming from God is very, very crucial and very important, and ought to heed it. When we look, however, on the message of Amos and the context coming from, and just before we deal with the context of chapter 3:3, meaning chapter 3, verse 3, we want to go back further to chapter 2, and we'll have a better understanding to what was happening here. In chapter 2, we would understand that God told his people some things that they ought not to do. In other words, he was bringing to them their actions. And there were other places within the Holy Scriptures where he would have talked to them and said, do not do this as the others. However, they did not heed to the Master's voice. We would understand based on chapter 2, one of the practices, one of the lawlessness, which is iniquity. They actually brought their children through the fire as an act of worship. And we have to pay attention here, because if they say Jehovah, I mean, they had to be worshiping Jehovah. But now they are bringing their children through. We have to look at worship differently, people of God. Their appearance was Jehovah. Their label was Jehovah. But the practices and of the heart, and Jesus made no mistake here. And he said, God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. Their label was that they were Jehovah worshippers, but God saw something, that they were bringing their children through the fire as an act of worship to the pagan god. Of course, he was upset. And now they oppress the poor. The males would have gone into the same woman as their fathers would have had. Also, God remember the time, though he forget nothing, when he actually brought them out with a mighty hand out from Egypt. He recalled these moments, and he was saying, I am the one that brought you out. In other words, what did I do that was wrong? But yet still they went astray and they went according to their iniquities. Now, chapter 3, verse 3. Can two walk together unless they agree? I just want to simplify this and let us understand that this is